So this is a lecture for investment property. Okay. So when we say investment property, it is either a land or a building held by the owner or a lessee under a finance lease or right of use of lease to earn rentals, capital appreciation, or both. And it is not considered as use in production. It is not held for sale in the ordinary course of business, and it is not used for administrative purposes. So in letter A, it is not used in production or supply of goods kasi hindi na siya mako-consider as investment property but already considered as a property, plant, and equipment. For number 2 naman, held for ordinary course of business, under inventory naman yan. And then for letter C, for administrative purposes, actually it depends kasi there are times na most of the times it is already considered as same with your letter A, which is under your property, plant, and equipment. Okay? So the following are examples of investment property. So the main purpose of investment property is for earning rentals. Hold on. Is for earning rentals and for capital appreciation. Okay? So, earning rentals at saka capital appreciation. Yun lang po yung purpose ng inyong investment property. So, these are examples of your investment property as provided in your Philippine Accounting Standards. Number 1, land held for long-term capital appreciation. Ayun, kasama siya doon sa second purpose natin, capital appreciation. For number 2, land held for undetermined use, hindi mo pa alam kung saan gagamitin. Okay? So, ilalagay mo siya under investment property. For number 3, a building owned by an entity leased out under an operating lease. Okay, so ito yung nag-earn ka ng rental income. Ikaw ay nasa perspective ng lessor ba o lessee? Ikaw ay dapat nasa perspective ng lessee. Ikaw yung nagpapaupa. Okay? Number 4, a vacant building that is being lease out under an operating lease in the future. Okay? So, pag sinabi mo palang operating lease, ibig sabihin, ang purpose kasi ng operating lease is for you to earn rental income. Okay? Kasi mamaya, meron naman tayo yung number 7, which is yung finance lease. Okay? So, number 5, land held for currently undetermined future. Same with number 2 yan. Number 6 is property under construction or development for future use as investment property. So for example, nagpapatayo ka ng isang building tapos ang purpose ng building na yun is gagawin mong apartment building. So ang future purpose nun will be apartment building wherein under operating lease yun, mag-earn ka ng rental income. So kahit hindi pa tapos yung apartment building mo, ilalagay mo na rin po siya under investment property. Okay, number 7, a property that is leased to another entity under finance lease if the entity is the lessor. So pag sinabi nating lessor, sino ba yung lessor? Ang lessor po, siya po yung nagpapaupa. Okay? Lessor, siya yung nagpapaupa. Okay. Ibig sabihin, nililease out mo yung property to a lessee. Okay? Pero under a finance lease. When you say finance lease, ano bang ibig sabihin ng finance lease? For easy understanding, ang meaning po ng finance lease is ito yung rent to own. Okay? Hanggang hindi pa na fully paid yung bayad doon sa property, it is still part of your investment property as lessor. Okay? And then number 8, mixed use of property. So ito yung portion wherein merong part ng property na pinapalis sa rentals tapos meron ding owner occupied. Like for example, meron kayong 2-story building. Sa baba, pinapaupahan nyo yun. Okay? Tapos sa taas, nandun naman yung office ng own business ninyo. Or ito mas classic example. Nakakita na ba kayo ng 2-story building wherein sa baba may sari-sari store, tapos sa taas may kwarto. Okay? So, owner occupied yung baba. Okay? Ang nagtitinda sa sari-sari store sa grocery store is yung owner mismo ng building. Pero may extra space siya sa taas, which is pinapaupahan niya yun sa someone na gustong kailangan ng unit, 'di ba? So example po 'yan ng mixed use property. Okay? So how are we going to initially recognize our investment property? Okay. So it is initially recognized at cost. When we say cost, it includes your purchase price plus directly attributable expenditures such as legal fees, brokerage commission, or any cost that helps the asset to reach its current condition and its current location. Considered po yun as directly attributable cost. Kasama din po dito ang leasehold interest. Okay? So, yan po yung components ng sinasabi nating cost sa investment property. Okay. Hindi po kasama yung startup cost, abnormal waste, initial operating losses, future relocation of or reorganization because this should be expense outright. Okay, hindi po sila nakakatulong doon sa inyong investment property. Okay? Next, special cases. So these are the cases kung paano ba natin nakukuha yung investment property. So if we obtain the investment property like in your property, plant, and equipment through exchange, the measurement should be fair value of the asset given up. Okay? Fair value of the asset given up plus or minus kung meron kang cash payment. Okay? And plus or minus meron kang cash paid or meron kang cash receipt. Okay? Deferred payment terms. When you say deferred payment terms, installment. Okay? Um, so, ang consider natin as price ng investment property under deferred payment term is the cash price. Kung available ang cash price, yung cash price. Okay? So, if there is a difference between your cash price and the total amount you have paid. Okay? So, kung inipon mo yung installment payment mo, kinumpare mo dun sa cash price, the difference is what you called interest expense. Okay? And that interest expense should be amortized over the period kung hanggang kailan mo babayaran. Okay. We also have acquisition as part of business combination. So you will understand this more pagdating ng inyong accounting for business combinations. Okay? So, accounting for business combination. So, ang rule natin, kapag na-obtain mo yung investment property because there is a business combination, fair value ang basis natin. Fair value at the acquisition date. Okay, kung kailan nag-start yung business combination. Okay? So, ito po yung formula natin for actually letter A, exchange transaction. Similar lang sila sa inyong property, plant, and equipment under the topic exchange. So, pag sinabi natin with commercial substance, ibig sabihin yung future cash flows, there is a change. Okay? Merong pagbabago sa future economic cash flows because of the transaction. Okay? So, our basis will be fair value of the asset given up plus kung meron kang cash payment minus kung meron kang cash receipt. That will be the cost on how you will record or how will you initially record investment property. Second, if without commercial substance, ibig sabihin the cash flows in the future after the transaction happened will not um will not change. Okay, that means without commercial substance yun. Ang gagamitin naman nating measurement is the carrying value of the asset given up plus cash paid minus cash received. Okay? So, paano naman kapag self-constructed yung investment property? So, kapag self-constructed or meaning ikaw yung nagpagawa ng, ng property, syempre you have to account for the manufacturing cost, di ba? Materials, labor, and overhead. Okay? So, kasama lahat yun. Next, punta naman tayo sa valuation after the recognition of the investment property. So, after mo siyang initially i-record sa books mo, how are you going to value it subsequently? Okay, ito yung subsequent recognition na tinatawag natin. So, there are two ways in which pwede nating i-measure subsequently ang investment property. We have your fair value model at saka yung inyong cost model. So, sa fair value model, initially, nire-recognize mo ang investment property at cost. But at the end of each year, you have to determine kung ano yung fair value ng investment property. Okay. kapag yung fair value at the end of each year is higher than its carrying value, ibig sabihin nagkaroon ka ng gain. Okay? Ang tawag natin sa gain na yun is your revaluation surplus. Okay? Revaluation surplus yun, which is mapupunta po yun sa inyong P&L. Okay? Sa income statement nyo. Part of your income statement, revaluation surplus. Paano naman kapag yung fair value at the end of the period is mas mababa compared to your carrying value? What will happen? You have to recognize impairment loss. Okay? You have to recognize impairment loss. Okay. Do we recognize depreciation expense under your fair value model? The answer is no. Okay? Kasi yung gain or loss na mismo doon sa pag-remeasure mo to its fair value, yun na yung may impact sa inyong income statement. Okay? Punta naman tayo dito sa cost model. When you say cost model, initially it is recognized at cost, and then we will record depreciation para malaman yung carrying value at the end of each period. Okay? So, ang formula natin under cost model is same with your property, plant, and equipment cost, less accumulated depreciation, less impairment loss. So, kailan nagkakaroon ng impairment loss? Nagkakaroon po ng impairment loss kapag yung fair value ng asset is lower compared to its carrying value. Okay? Since ang fair value kasi, it determines the market price, 'di ba? Magkano mo siya mabebenta at its current situation right now. So, kung mas mababa na siya sa market, kailangan mag-recognize ka na ng impairment loss. Okay? So, sa impairment loss, we record depreciation. Okay? We also record impairment loss. But what if mas mataas naman po yung fair market value at the end of the period doon sa inyong carrying value under cost model? The answer is you will just ignore it. Okay? Wala kayong i-recognize na revaluation surplus. Unlike sa fair value model, titignan mo kung tataas or bababa sa carrying value ang fair market value at the end of each year. Okay? But for cost model, kung mas mataas yung fair market value, you will just ignore. Okay? But kung mas mababa yung fair market value at the end of the period, you will recognize impairment loss. Okay? So, medyo mas conservative si cost model. Okay? Kasi kahit na tumaas yung value ng property, you will just ignore. Pero kapag pag bumaba, you have to recognize the loss at once. Okay? Impairment loss ang tawag doon. Okay. So, differences between your cost model and fair market value model. So, how are we going to record how are we going to compute for the value of the investment property in the cost model? Syempre, sa cost model, as we have mentioned, it is cost less accumulated depreciation, less any impairment loss, that will be the carrying value. Okay? Under fair value model, you have to check magkano ang market price at the end of each period. And that will be your carrying value as of the year end. Okay? For depreciation under cost model, yes, it is recognized. Paano mag-compute? Same with your property, plant, and equipment. For fair market value, wala po tayong dine-depreciate. Kasi kung ano yung value niya at the year end, yun na rin po yung i-recognize ninyo sa books. Changes in fair market value. Okay. So, magre-recognize ka lang ng change in fair market value kapag bumaba, mas lower compared to your carrying value, because that will result to your impairment loss. Okay? But generally, hindi mo siya talaga ginagamit kasi you have this. You are just testing it for impairment at the end of the period. Okay? Pero kapag fair market value increases and decreases is considered. Okay? It is considered. Okay? Kasi nga, fair market value ang measurement mo at the end, ang ginagamit mo for each period. Okay? Considerations in practice, choice of model, consistency, disclosure. Okay. So, it depends upon the company kung anong pipiliin niya in measuring its investment property subsequently. Kung gusto ba niya fair market value model or cost model. It depends. Pero dapat consistent din siya ha. Hindi pwedeng, itong isang investment property, fair value, yung isa cost. Dapat it is across all investment property. Iisa yung mode of measurement. Disclosure, kailangan pong i-disclose under investment properties kung ano pong model yung ginamit. Fair value ba or cost model? Okay? So let's go to your illustrative problem number 1. Okay. So Marao Company undertook the construction of a condominium in Makati, recognized as the largest state-of-the-art structure in the area. Upon completion, the board of directors resolved not to sell the condominium but retain it as investment property by leasing the space to business executives within the vicinity. The construction was completed and the property was placed into service on January 1, 2023. Total construction cost amounted to 50 million pesos with an estimated useful life of 25 years and a residual value of 5 million. An independent appraiser subsequently determined the fair values of the condominium at each year-end as follows. Okay. So, noong December 2023 daw po, ang fair market value niya jumped to 55 million. 2024, naging 53 million. 2025, 60 million. So, anong requirements natin? Under cost model, what amount should be reported as depreciation of investment property for 2023? So, you will just use kung paano ninyo kinocompute ang depreciation for PPE. So, your cost is 5 million. Meron kayong residual value na, your cost is 50 million. You have residual value of 5 million. Hence, your depreciable amount is 45 million. 45 million divided by 25 years, that will be your annual depreciation. Okay? So, your annual depreciation will be 1.8 million pesos. Okay. For requirement number 2, under the fair value model, ito kanina cost model kaya may depreciation. Pero pag ang tanong sa number 1, under the fair value model, what should be recognized as depreciation of investment property for 2023? Dapat ang sagot nyo 0. Because in fair market value model, wala po tayong nire-recognize na depreciation. Okay? For number 2, under the fair value model, what should be recognized as gain from change in fair value in 2023? Okay. So, tignan natin. Magkano magiging gain ninyo? From 50 million, naging 55 million daw. So, ang gain natin for that one will be 5 million. Okay? The answer is 5 million. Bakit? Nag-start ka, di ba, fair market value ng December 23, 2023 is 55 million. Magkano ba yung carrying value niyan noong December 23? Carrying value is just 50 million. Same with your cost. Wala naman kayong accumulated depreciation dyan. Okay, so ang gain ninyo will be 5 million pesos. Okay? Paano naman kung tinanong kayo sa number 2, what is the change in fair market value in what should be recognized as gain from change in fair market value in 2023? So you have to compare magkano ba siya recorded as of the moment. 'Di ba nung sabihin natin 2024 naman. Sa 2024, saan mo i-compare yung fair market value na 53,000? You will have to compare it with your 55 million. So in this case, meron ka ng loss. Okay? Nagkaroon ka na ng loss na 2 million. Okay? And your new carrying value is now 53 million in 2024. Paano pag tinanong ka, what is the gain or loss from change in fair value should be recognized in 2025? So you have to compare the 60 million to the new carrying value, which is 53 million. So in this case, meron ka ng 7 million na gain. Okay? 7 million na yung gain mo. Ayan. Alright? So, very straightforward lang. For illustrative problem number 2, okay, kunin muna natin yung requirements. So, the total investment property that should be reported in the consolidated statement of financial possession of the parent and its subsidiary. So, hinahanap yung investment property. Pangalawa, yung owner-occupied property that should be considered in the PPE of the consolidated statement of financial possession. So, ang hinahanap natin dito, consolidated. Pag sinabi natin, guys, na consolidated, meaning, merong parent, merong subsidiary. May parent, may anak. Okay? Requirement kasi sa PFR is na kapag ang isang entity ay merong subsidiary, magpiprepare siya ng consolidated financial statements. Ibig sabihin, kukunin din niya yung financial statement ni subsidiary, i-combine niya doon sa financial statement niya as a parent para ma-produce yung consolidated financial statement natin. Okay? So, si Darius Company and its subsidiaries own the following properties at year-end. Meron daw pong land held si Darius for undetermined use. So, that case, that one is since undetermined use, that is considered as investment property. Pangalawa, vacant building owned by Darius and to be leased out under operating lease. So this one is also under your investment property. Pangatlo, property held by subsidiary of Darius in the ordinary course of business. In the ordinary course of business, real estate firm daw yung um, subsidiary ni Darius. So that is actually considered as your this is since real estate siya tapos yung property is held by the subsidiary, this is considered as part of your inventory. Kasi real estate siya, so binibenta niya yung properties. Pangapat, property held by Darius for use in production. This is considered owner occupied and that is your PPE. Building owned by subsidiary of Darius with security and maintenance provided to leases. So kasama rin to kasi yung subsidiary daw ni Darius nagpapaupa. Okay? Since combine natin silang dalawa, that is also part of your investment property. Land lease by Darius to subsidiary under operating lease. Okay. For land lease by Darius under operating lease, hindi natin to isasama. Kasi consolidated eh. So parang ang nangyari, pag sinama mo siya sa investment property, parang nonsense din. Okay, this is included in your PPE. Property under construction for use. Okay, balikan natin yung land lease by Darius to subsidiary under operating lease. So, ang pinapaupa kasi niya dito yung anak niya. Eh, di ba consolidated sila? So, it is considered as if it is owner-occupied. Okay? Kasi nga, considered as one, si Darius at saka yung subsidiary niya. Okay? Next item, property under construction for use as an investment property. This is also considered as your investment property kasi even though the construction is still ongoing, ang purpose ng construction is investment property. Okay? Land held for future factory site. Future factory site, ibig sabihin owner-occupied. Diba? So that is PPE. Machine lease out to Darius to an unrelated party under operating lease 1 million. Lease out by Darius. So this one under operating lease. Okay. So this one is considered as investment property. Teka. Machine Yung machine lease out for investment property is considered as PPE. Okay. So, ang IP natin is 5 million, 3 million, 1.5 plus 6 million. 5 million, 3 million, 1.56. Total of 15.5 million. And then, ang inyong property, plant, and equipment is also 4. Yun. Si held by Darius in production, land lease to operating lease, that's 2.5. Yung for future factory, PPE 3.5. And 1 million machine lease out. Kasi ito ay machine. Okay? Kaya yan PPE. 1 million, that is under your property, plant, and equipment. Okay, so illustrative problem 3 is an extended version of your illustrative number 2. So kayo na lang po bahala dyan. Okay. So punta naman tayo dito sa transfer to and from other classification. So from investment property, sometimes we may convert it to owner-occupied property. So akala natin, ginagamit lang natin for capital appreciation or for rentals. Pero nakita mo yung need na kailangan mo na pala siya. So kunwari, yung example natin kanina, yung nangungupahan sa taas ng tindahan mo, sabi mo, kailangan mo na ng office area kasi lumalaki yung operations mo, pinaalis mo ngayon yung nagpapaupa. So, kinonvert mo yung investment property to owner-occupied kasi ikaw na yung nag-occupy as an office dun sa taas ng tindahan mo. Okay? And then, we also have from investment property to inventories. Yung investment property na ginagamit mo for rentals, you decided na ibenta na lang siya. Okay? Naging held for sale. Okay? And letter C, from owner-occupied property to investment property. So, ito naman, dati mong PPE, na-realize mo, hindi mo na ginagamit, ipaparenta mo or for capital appreciation na lang. Ito naman, letter D, from inventories to investment property. Binibenta mo before, and then, gusto mo na siyang parentahan. Huwag mo na lang ibenta, parentahan na lang. So, from inventories to investment property. So, kailan mo i-effect yung measurement natin for investment property? At the time kung kailan yung intention mo is sure ka na ililipat mo na siya ng classification. Okay? Management, kung nagkaroon na ng final decision na ililipat mo na siya sa new classification, yun yung kukonsider mong time kung kailan kukunin mo yung fair market value. Okay? Presentation in the statement of financial position. Your investment property is different from your property, plant, and equipment. So, kailangan ibang line item po sa investment property. It is measured or considered as a non-current asset. Non-current asset po yan ha. The recognition, when we say the recognition, kailan siya tatanggalin sa books? Okay. Investment property is derecognized when it is sold, disposed, or nagbago na yung purpose niya. Pwedeng from investment property, gagawin mo na siyang PPE, or from investment property, gagawin mo na siyang inventory. So, derecognize na siya as investment property. Required disclosures, ang important po dito is yung measurement. Anong gusto mo? Fair value model, cost model. Okay? Other non-current financial assets. So your other non-current financial asset, you have studied this in your midterms. So ayun. So example ng mga long-term funds natin under non-current financial assets is your sinking fund, bond, redemption fund, at saka yung preference share redemption fund. So ito po yung tinatabi natin for settlement ng long-term liabilities. We also have yung insurance fund. Okay? And next, we proceed to your non-current assets held for sale. So your non-current assets held for sale, it is also considered another topic sa investment property. Hindi ko alam kung bakit siya naisama dito. Okay? So when we say non-current assets held for sale, ibig sabihin, previously, PPE mo yan. Okay? And then, nag-decide ka na ibibenta mo na lang siya. So, nagkaroon ng change in management intention. So, the classification of your non-current asset held for sale is current asset po yan ha. Current asset po kasi held for sale. Binibenta mo na. Okay? From PPE, ililipat mo siya sa non-current assets held for sale. Even though yung nature ng asset is non-current, pero pag binibenta mo na siya sa active market, that is considered as current asset. Okay? So, ano ba yung important points na kailangan ninyong malaman for non-current asset held for sale? Meron tayong two conditions para ma-classify natin ang isang item or isang property as non-current asset held for sale. Number one, it should be available for immediate sale. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo na kailangang i-construct, pagandahin, as is, kailangan mo na siyang ibenta. Okay? And there must be, the sale must be highly probable. So when we say highly probable, pinost mo na siya sa active market. Okay? At hindi pwedeng nag-decide ka pero hindi mo naman siya pinapabenta sa real estate broker mo. Wala kang ginagawa. Hindi mo ina-advertise na, uy, for sale yung property na yan. Okay? Hindi probable yung magiging sale nun. Kasi parang, oh, ibibenta ko na yan, pero sa isip mo lang yun. Kailangan may actions. Okay? So, ano yun? Paano malalaman? Kailangan ipopost mo siya sa active market. Papahanap ka sa mga real estate agents kung sino ang pwedeng bumili. Okay? Interesado ka sa mismong pagbebenta. Okay? So, that are the two considerations for you to classify a property under non-current assets held for sale. Okay? Measurement ng non-current asset held for sale dapat po is dalawa. It is lower of your carrying amount and your fair value less cost to sell. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating carrying amount, okay, dati PPE siya, hanapin nyo magkano ang cost, magkano ang accumulated depreciation, at kung may impairment loss. Okay? So that will be the carrying value of the property. And then, you compare that to your fair value less cost to sell. Fair value, magkano ba yan pwede mabenta sa market? Cost to sell? O kailangan mo ba ng broker's fee, advertising fee, at kung ano-ano pang fee na kailangan mo para mabenta yung property na yan. You compare the two amounts. Whichever is lower, ganun po mo po i-recognize si non-current asset held for sale. What if non-current assets held for sale are distributed to owners? Okay? So they are considered as property dividend. Okay? Property dividend po ang consideration sa kanila. So, similar with your number one, measurement will be carrying value versus fair market value less cost to sell. Okay. Subsequent measurement of disposal group. Okay. So, meron tayong two-step approach pagdating sa subsequent measurement ng disposal group. Number one. So, first, assets and liabilities that fall outside the scope of PFRS 5 are remeasured according to their specific standards. And number two, after this remeasurement, the entire disposal group is then assessed, which is lower between your carrying amount and fair market value less cost to sell. So, ganun pa rin. It's just that meron lang tayong unang ginawa. Kailangan daw i-instate mo muna or i-check mo kung yung assets and liabilities ay remeasured accordingly. Okay? Financial statement presentation, again, as I've mentioned, this is considered as current asset kasi held for sale na po siya. For trading na, di ba? Okay, so kahit na yung nature ng asset mo is non-current, but it is already for sale, for trading na po yan, current asset na po yan. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yung illustrative problems ninyo dito um, sa mga susunod na mga illustrative problems are actually not related to non-current asset held for sale, but dito po siya related sa inyong other investments. Okay. Other non-current financial assets, which is your insurance fund, contingency fund, planned expansion fund, at saka sinking fund. Okay, so dito sa number 4, illustrative problem number 4, example po yan ng sinking fund. So anong purpose ng sinking fund? It is, iniipon mo yung pambayad mo sa liability in the future. Okay? So tignan natin. On January 1, 2023, together with the issuance of bonds payable, ABC Company established a 1 million sinking fund. The bond indenture indenture, dapat indebtedness yan eh, does not require the company to appropriate retained earnings. Okay? So the trustee manage the funds. The establishment of the sinking fund is as follows. So nagkaroon ka daw ng fund. Nag-establish ka na yan kasi again, for future payments yan, debit ka ng sinking fund as trustee and then credit ka ng cash 1 million. At the end of each year, na ang fund balance na daw is 1,062,500. So tumaas yung fund mo. So nagkakaroon ka, yung tawag sa yung income na na-earn mo dyan sa fund na yan is your interest. Okay, so debit ka ng sinking fund trustee, 62,500, credit ka ng interest income. In 2024, tumaas na naman daw by 100,000. So same journal pa rin. Sinking fund trustee, credit ka ng interest income, 100,000. In 2025, the EBC receives a notice of settlement of the related bonds with face amount 1 million and accrued interest of 1,200,000. So ito na po yung utang mo. Pinapabayaran na sa'yo. Okay? So ang originally may utang kang bonds payable na 1 million. Okay? So ipambabayad mo dyan yung sinking fund trustee mo. Okay? So sa sinking fund trustee mo, ang current amount na natin, di ba? It's 1,162,000. Out of that, babayaran mo yung utang mo na 1 million plus yung interest na 120,000. So, debit ka ng bonds payable, 1 million para mabayaran mo na yung buong utang mo. And then, debit ka ng interest expense for the accrued interest, 120. And then, credit ka ng sinking fund trustee, 1,120,000. May natira pa. Kasi 1,162,000 yung value ng fund mo. Ang binayad mo lang 1,120,000. So, meron ka pang natirang 42,500. Yung 42,500 sa loob ng sinking fund trustee mo will be ibabalik na sa company as cash. So, sa company, ABC Company receives cash at tatanggalin na natin yung sinking fund trustee. So, yung sinking fund trustee mo, after the bond is settled, is now zero. Okay? Zero na yan. Alright? Next, this one naman is an insurance policy. I think this is the last problem na. Okay. Last problem na po ito. So, let's understand. This should be discussed under your employee benefits sa saan ba nung topic to? Sa ano po, intermediate accounting to dapat. Kaya lang sige, discuss na lang natin since nandito naman siya sa handout ninyo. On January 1, 2023, Dory Company insures the life of its president, 1 million pesos. Dory Company is the beneficiary. So again, pina-insure nila yung president para pag namatay si president, kasi pag namatay po ang president, syempre mararatel yung mga stockholders. Ang mangyayari, yung stock prices po bababa. Okay? So to offset yung effect ng pagbaba sa market prices, stock prices rather nung company, pinapa-insure nila yan. Okay? Para yung insurance money, yun yung pangtapal nila doon sa losses. Okay? The annual insurance premium of 20,000 is payable at the beginning of each year. Information on the cash surrender value of the insurance policy is as follows. Okay. So, ano ba yung cash surrender value? Pag sinabing cash surrender, may mga policies kasi na may mga money back. Okay, so yun yung tinatawag natin cash surrender. So, the entry to record the annual premiums, when you say annual premiums, yan po yung binabayaran mo yearly para dun sa insurance. Okay? So, debit ka ng life insurance expense, 20,000 hanggang 2025. Okay? So, hanggang 2025, beginning of 2025, meron kang debit life insurance, credit cash. Okay. Next, the entry to record the cash surrender value at the end of the third year. Kung titignan nyo po, meron po tayo ditong cash surrender value na 21,000. So, debit ka ng cash surrender value, 21,000, and then you will recognize yung, kasi 3 taon na yung lumipas eh. Okay? 2023, 2024, 2025. Okay? You will recognize and life insurance expense, bababaan mo by 1/3, 7,000, saka yung retained earnings, 2/3, 14,000. Okay? The entry to record the annual premium for 2026 is also the same. However, in 2026, I think meron din siyang cash surrender value ng 28,000. Okay. Dito tayo. Okay. The entry on December 2026 to increase the cash surrender value is as follows. So, from 21,000, naging 28,000 pesos. So, debit kayo ng cash surrender value, additional of 7,000, and then credit kayo ng life insurance expense, 7,000 pesos. Okay? So, ganun lang po yung journal entries natin for insurance. Okay? Um, I think yun lang naman po yung important points for this topic. Bale, kung ang focus po natin, yung actually yung last two problems natin, is hindi masyadong important yun because those topics should be discussed in your intermediate accounting too. Ang important lang siguro dito is yung sa cost value, fair value model. So, doon po kayo mag-focus pagdating sa exams. And also, syempre, yung theories involved for this topic. Okay? So that's all for your investment property handout.